Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the Nucamp open house, the last one of year 2020. I must say, like many of you, I'm sure I'm looking forward to 2021. With me today, I have Gani Zahid joining me. Gani, say hi. Unmute your microphone so that people can see you.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello. So Gani is an instructor with us as well as a career coach, and you'll hear from him in about 15 minutes. So the way we like to do those open houses is we're going to spend the first 30 minutes going over Nucamp, giving you an overview of the type of coding bootcamp that we provide, the career services, the tuition, the experience, I mean, all of that. And then the last 30 minutes, we are going to answer your questions. So that's going to be a live Q&A. I can see here that we have Kwanula Griffin joining. Alexander, hi. So we're looking at the chat, Gani and I. And then we're also looking at Facebook. And we are streaming as well on Facebook. And so you can ask your questions there. I will just ask quickly because I'm getting an error message on my screen. Can you all hear me and see me at this time? If you can, just type it in. Can you hear us and see us? All right, I think I'm going to assume that it's all working for everyone. Okay, so let's get going then. So what is Nucamp? All right, yeah, you can see us. Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Vertis. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Elizabeth. So Nucamp is a special coding bootcamp. We really set ourselves apart with a very strong social mission to help all aspiring career shifters in every community enter the digital economy. So it's a mouthful, but what it means really is we are where you live. No matter which city, which community you're part of, we really work hard to have local presence in your city, not just the big cities, the tech cities that we all know, but we really work hard to have instructors and presence in your community. And then, of course, the second point that probably has caught your attention as well is our very affordable tuition and all the options that we offer you to pay that tuition. We built Nucamp from the ground up with a very affordable tuition in mind. And so everything else that we've done really was in support of that vision of offering really the most affordable coding bootcamp out there. And the way we do that is absolutely not by sacrificing quality. If you go on the various review websites, Course Report, SwitchUp, Career Karma, you'll see that we are a top-rated coding bootcamp. Number one rated, I would say, in the US out of the top 3. And I mean, we have tons of customers reviewing us. We don't pay them. We don't tell them what to say, but just go there and write their thoughts about Nucamp. So that's kind of a brief overview, obviously, of what we do and who we are. But I know many of you are really in the process of selecting a coding bootcamp, and you've looked at many different options, many different types of experiences. And so I'll give you kind of a comparison to think about Nucamp and how we play a role in your research. So on the very right hand of the comparison, you have online bootcamps. And what we like about those, and what you probably like about those, is how affordable they are and how easy it is to get in. Think about Udemy, Udacity, Coursera, edX. I mean, you can just buy a course for $10 and have access to 200 hours of great content, very often great content. And so that's a fantastic way to get started, I will say. If you're just thinking about, okay, is it something for me? Most of you will actually start online, very free, very cheap, almost free sometimes. The challenge with that approach, and why actually many of our students have started there but did not stop there, is very few people are actually finishing anything. There's a ton of research in the education world that shows that only 3% of the people that are starting online, very accessible, very cheap, but only 3% really accomplish their goal, because it's very, very hard to stay committed without proper structure, without an environment, a supportive environment. And so great to start there. A lot of benefits, again, it's easy to get in. It's not expensive at all. You're on your own pace. You can do whatever you want. But most of the time, you'll see that it's not enough. It doesn't really allow you or help you to accomplish your goal. Now, with that, what are the other options? Well, the other option are what we call the traditional coding bootcamps, which are very much traditional schools. Very supportive environment, right, at the extreme of online coding bootcamps. Very supportive environment. But like any school, they are only located in a few cities. And so you may not have one near you. And so you may be looking at commuting back and forth. They are also extremely expensive. And if you really want to benefit from that experience, that immersive experience, you'll be contemplating quitting your job. And so there's a ton of risk associated with joining a coding bootcamp that is pretty much a traditional school. Great potential as well. I mean, many of those traditional coding bootcamps do a really nice job delivering you the education that you need. But if I were in your shoes, and we've really thought about that, there's a ton of risk associated with, hey, I'm going to have to quit my job if I already have one. I'm going to make a bet that is going to be worth it. I'm going to have to find the money to pay for it. And so there's and maybe you don't even have one near you. And so that's really what we're trying to do with Nucamp, is to kind of bring the best of two worlds together and offer a unique experience that will be as accessible and affordable as online bootcamps, with the flexibility that comes along with it. But we'll bring all the support, the immersion experience, the in-person experience, before COVID, I will say, that traditional bootcamps will offer without the risk-taking. So you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to take on a big loan. You don't have necessarily to commute long hours. We offer a part-time program, meaning from Monday through Friday, you can work at your own schedule, your own pace. We give you a strong sense of structure, so you know what to do, you know what you're supposed to do, but you can do that, at the time that works for you during the week. And then on Saturday morning, we have small workshops with instructors to really help you get focused on a problem to solve. And that those workshops, we call them, are typically in your city when we were in person before COVID. And then, of course, last but not least, the affordability element. Our tuition is less than $2,000. You don't have to pay upfront. We have plenty of options, including the Fair Student Agreement that I will talk about later. So that's how you can think about us when you're doing your research. It's really kind of the best of both worlds between online and very traditional. All right. There we go. So a little bit of history. We were founded in 2017 in the state of Washington, where I personally live. We've hosted more than 4,000 students at this time. We've launched more than 1,000 bootcamps. We have, in any given week, actually 250 instructors active working with us. And we're delivering actually now more than 100 workshops every Saturday. Our satisfaction, again, if you go online, you'll see that we have an outstanding satisfaction. So everything we do is really with very high quality. Many people are wondering, right, are we for real? Because of our tuition, we don't do a lot of advertising or PR. And so people know us less than they know our competition, but I assure you, we've been around quite enough to be a reputable coding bootcamp. All right, in terms of bootcamps, we have 3 bootcamps to offer you. The very first one, the Web Development Fundamentals, is 4 weeks long and really meant for beginners. So with that one, we'll teach you the fundamentals of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And by the way, Gani would actually go into more details into each of those bootcamps. And then we have the more advanced bootcamps, the ones that are really 17 weeks long and then 22 weeks long. They actually complement one another, the front end and the full stack bootcamp. And so you can see already here that our tuition is quite low compared to anyone else. Our best deal is a payment plan, so no interest, no credit checks, no nothing. So you can just pay, $370 a month with your credit card and just be done with it, I would say. And then we offer the Fair Student Agreement, which is a more traditional student loan, but given the low tuition, offering really great payment options. So you can actually register for just $100 and then pay $8 a month until graduation, for example, with Frontend. So let me actually talk to you a little bit more about the Fair Student Agreement. This is for us something very important in comparison to what's happening in the industry with the income share agreement. If you're not familiar, the income share agreement, the primarily idea or the thought of it is actually quite great. It's really to say, hey, we're going to make a bet on our students, and we're actually only going to ask for tuition if you are successful getting a job, and if that job pays you enough. Perfect. That's an awesome vision. But the way it's implemented right now in the industry is a little bit concerning, because it's really leading to a ton of deception, a ton of asterisks or fine print in the contract. And ultimately also you'll find articles that, the school is not necessarily invested in your success because they're reselling those contracts on Wall Street and making money way before you actually get a job. So in response to that, we really came up with the Fair Student Agreement, which is 100% regulated, and ISA is not, and still offers really, and that answers, I would say, the question or the need of many, which is, I don't have enough cash right now. I don't have enough money to actually register. And even $370 for me is too much on a monthly basis. And so we offer those options through our partner Climb Credit, which is offering you $8 a month. For example, the most flexible is $8 a month until you graduate. And then after that, just $85 or $89 a month if you pay the rest of the tuition over 18 months, which is pretty fair, we think. And then if you look at the total cost, the worst you will pay in addition, so the cost of the financing, I would say, is just like $300. So that's really what we thought will really greatly help people that need to get the support of a coding bootcamp, cannot really pay for it right now, but at the same time don't want to be forced to sign an agreement that will really have them pay sometimes $40,000 total for something that really is not worth $40,000. So I hope you appreciate that. We'll be happy to have a conversation around that afterwards. Now let's go back. So we've talked about the financials, the tuition. Let's go back to the experience, the student experience. And as I said, from Sunday to Friday, and notice I say Sunday because there really is no day off in a coding bootcamp. You learn at your own schedule. We offer you video lectures, coding exercises, quiz and challenges. You're going to work on a project portfolio, and Gani would actually talk about that. And it's about 1 to 3 hours of work every day. Can go up to 5 hours. When we hit what we call React, it's a big JavaScript framework to learn, and so your commitment on a daily basis could go to 4 or 5 hours. Not all the time though. And during that time, Sunday to Friday, you have the support of an instructor, although not a live support. And then on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we offer you an instructor-led workshop. When it was before COVID, it was in person. Now it's online, but still very much 12 students coming together with their instructor, going through what they've learned that week and really working on a project. And then it's a rinse and repeat kind of thing. Every week, you do the same thing over and over again. Really appreciate all the chatter on YouTube right now. keep continuing to chat. We'll actually answer those questions or jump into that conversation with Gani in about 15 to 20 minutes now. Sorry, I just realized that I didn't move my slides. I was looking at the other screen. So that's the Nucamp Fair Student Agreement slide that I covered earlier. That teach me to actually look at another screen and not moving the right things. And this is the slide I just covered about the curriculum format and logistics. All right, this is really live, you can tell. Okay, so I talked about the instructors. This is our magic. This is our secret sauce. That's what people say. Our Nucamp instructors are joining Nucamp because they want to give back. They are actually full-time working in the industry. Gani can talk to you about what he's doing daily, but they are not full-time working for Nucamp. They're doing that on the side. And so they are really passionate and excited to give back to their community, which actually leads to fantastic feedback from students. Every day, every week, actually, we look at the ratings of our instructors, and at this time, it stands around 4.8 out of 5, which is phenomenal, I will say. And that's very much because the instructors that are with us are really doing it not so much for the money, although, of course, we compensate them, but really because they care. And caring and being empathetic with students always is appreciated, as you can imagine. So they are local to your community. They come with rich and diverse backgrounds, which means some may work in a startup, some may work in a Fortune 500, some may actually be freelance, some may work for the government. You'll have access to 4 or 5 different instructors throughout your journey, and they'll all be able to bring that experience to you, which is another really value that they provide to you beyond teaching you the skills. All right, that being said, now is the time to hear Gani. Gani Zahid, who's one of our instructor and also a career coach. Gani, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Okay, thanks, Ludo. I want to start with a little bit of introduction first. So I've been coding or in the field for about 11 years now, primarily working as a full stack LAMP developer, which is a PHP based full stack development stack. But in this particular course, we're learning something called a MERN stack. And I'm going to go over that in a few minutes with you. So as Ludo was saying, all the instructors have working background. They're working in the real world right now. So most of the times we're giving you examples exactly from our job. What would you do with something like this? Why are you doing it this way? What would be the reason to do it this way? And those are the good questions. So becoming a web developer, obviously you can do multiple different things when you become a web developer. So JavaScript has been #1 for past 5 years. It has been, it's one of those languages that's still coming up. React is developed by Facebook, and they're moving up really fast. There's I want to say plenty of jobs out there for React developers. So finishing up this career or this class, the course, let's say full stack development, you should be able to get a job as a junior web developer. And junior web developers make somewhere between, I would say, 70,000 to, actually, I want to even say like somewhere close to 60 to 90. Now, it depends on your previous career as well. So, for example, if someone is, let's say, a manager at a hotel right now, you have a pretty much good understanding of how hotel systems work and so on and so forth. And let's say you get a job at a company that creates software for hotels. And there you go. You have that previous experience already, so you're going to be paid more rather than someone who's coming from, let's say, no no restaurant, no hotel industry background. So there's a blog on Nucamp site that you can check out as well. Okay, thanks, Ludo. So moving into our curriculum, how it works. So we have our intro class, which we suggest that everyone takes. So this is going to be your bare minimum first class that you will kick off your coding with. So we're starting with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You're learning bare minimum JavaScript, and you're understanding how things basically work. So we start with HTML, we go into CSS, and then we combine everything together with JavaScript. It's a 4-week class, and then from there you move into a framework called Bootstrap. Very well-known, common framework made by Twitter. The reason we use Bootstrap, because there's a lot of different pre-build functionality that comes with framework. You have responsiveness, responsive design, so you don't have to create separate CSS, separate classes, separate JavaScript for mobile device, for tablet, and for your desktop. Everything is already tested. It's ready for you. All you have to do is learn how to apply classes and JavaScript and so on and so forth. So that's what we spend our time on. It's a 5-week long class. So as the rest of them, the first class is the only one that's 4 weeks long, which is a web fundamentals class. So after Bootstrap, you jump into React, which is a JS platform. So what we do in that, we create more dynamic, responsive pages. So you're developing and you're actually forcing users to do certain things that you want them to do, which is a big thing when it comes to web development. For example, if you want someone to fill out a form, you want them to fill out, let's say there's 8 fields, you want them to fill out the 4 fields that you definitely need to process or to the next step. Those things you can actually tell them, yes, you need to do this, otherwise you cannot move forward. That's just a very small example, but there's a lot of other things you can do with React. React Native, big thing that we do with that is we are going to be deploying an app on our app stores. So you've got your Apple and you got your Google Play. Those are the 2 main ones that we kind of work with, but you can deploy apps to the app stores, and then we kind of, so these 3 courses, they're considered front end. Now, that will lead you into full stack, which is going to be your last course, and that completes your full stack. Now, last course is more of a server-side course. You're learning more about databases, creating user profiles, and authentication. Now, if you remember, I mentioned MERN stacks. So MERN is for MongoDB, E is for Express, R is for React, and N is for Node. So that's your MERN stack. Very well known right now. If you want to take a look at it, you can feel free to take a look at MERN stack, but it's pretty common out there. And that will complete your full stack. I do suggest, the way I kind of look at it is front end, if you can touch anything that user is doing, for example, actions, you can see the CSS, which is your style and look of the website. Anything that user can see is considered a front end. The back end is considered something that user cannot see. It's more like for processing and then bringing the data back to the user and so on and so forth. So if you ever want to be able to work with databases and so on and so forth, you will be doing more of a full stack development. Okay, so we have, obviously a lot of projects that our students worked on, and obviously Ludo will actually go through and show us some of the projects. Just to give you a quick background, with Bootstrap, we're creating responsive websites, and with React and React Native, we're creating websites that are available on your mobile apps, app stores. So again, Apple and Google Play stores. And then we're combining all that together with and integrating with backend by using Node.js Express and MongoDB. MongoDB is a NoSQL database, but we still need to know somewhat how SQL works. And you know, there's courses out there about that, but we can definitely you know, go into it when we learn that DB. Ludo, do you want to show us some projects that some of
Yeah,
us?
of course. Yeah, it'll be a pleasure to do that. Just quickly, Quanula Griffin, thank you so much for being so active on the chat. There's a chat that has been blocked by YouTube, and I'm trying to release it because it's a good answer that you're providing. I'm trying to click the show button, but it is not working. It's telling me that there's an error. So just so you know, your answer was pretty good. I think that's the one when you talked about the alphabet to coding and development, but that answer actually has been blocked by YouTube for whatever reason, and I'm not able to unblock it. So just so you know, because I really appreciate that you're spending so much time actually helping others evaluate Nucamp. All right, so yeah, projects, students working on their own projects, which is really phenomenal when you look at the end result. So let me actually go to the YouTube page. And let me see where that screen is going to end up. There we go. It's here. Let me bring it over. So you are either on YouTube right now or on Facebook. Those projects are available on YouTube. So you'll want to go to our YouTube channel, the playlist here. So you're going to see our student projects. We keep adding projects every 5 weeks. And I'll just show you a few. I'm not going to show you everything, but we have one student who created actually kind of a database of COVID-19. It's a bit depressing, I will say, but it's pretty interesting. Let me show you a few ones here that I really like. Okay, there's a Pokemon game that one of our students actually created. You can see there's a ton of work in how the game animates. And let me fast forward because I find it pretty impressive what that student has been able to do. There we go. So you see the animation, all the cards coming up, really, really nice. And all the, you know, all those Pokemon cards here. There's another one that I really like. Let me see, where would I find that one? Oh yeah, Panoramic HR, very sleek, very front-end oriented. When the student graduated and showed that project, the other students really wanted to know if he was starting a company and if they could be hired by him, thinking this was going to be the next 1 billion company. But really, really sleek design. Of course, he talked about the architecture behind it. Let me show you more. There we go. So that's an HR kind of thing where you handle employees, their reviews, their performance. There you go. You can see a few of those. All right. I'm not going to spend too much time. There's another one. If you can find it, I don't know that I will be able to find it here, but it's a chess game. And the chess game actually very interesting how the student really built a networking game, you know, playing chess online against an opponent, very sleek as well. So there we go. That's very much what people can find online. Gani, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Ludo. Okay, so next thing, our bootcamp schedule. So we have a bootcamp starting on January 4th, which is going to be our beginners bootcamp. And that is, you know, you can register today, tomorrow, up till January 4th. Is that correct, Ludo? They can schedule up till January 4th, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have the next bootcamp this coming Monday. You can still register for it for just $399. And then the next early bird really is almost a month out, but you definitely want to register before the early bird because you'll get the best tuition.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. So Nucamp scholarships. There are 4 scholarships. We just added a new one called the New You. So the first one here is for the military folks. So if you are in military, that scholarship will be for you. Career Karma is another scholarship which is available to you, and they also provide laptops as well. The third one is the high school. So if you're a recent graduate of high school, you can apply for that scholarship. The brand new one is something called New You, which is for students who actually, if they get declined for their loan. So if they're applying for a credit, if I remember correctly, it's for a fair student agreement. So if they apply for a credit and they get declined, they can apply for this particular scholarship. All right, so something new that that Nucamp added. Actually, it's actually about 3 months old now, so not really new. Career services program. So we do provide one-on-one career services. It is included in your tuition. So as you graduate, you are able to you get matched with a career advisor, and they provide you with services. So a few things that we currently do, we go through your resume, we go through your LinkedIn profile, Indeed. We also help you with some of the job boards, how to find jobs. We do some mock interviews, etc., etc. So as far as the employment rate goes, 78% of our graduates are employed within 3 months. So after you graduate from our boot camp, within 3 months, 78% of our graduates get employed. Graduation rate, which is a big thing here to understand. Obviously, everyone can be part of a boot camp, but do they actually graduate? So this is a really big thing. 75% of our students graduate on last two cohort, which is going to be your full stack or your front end. Those are the two graduation periods. So our front end cohort, which is our second last class, and if you're to go with a full stack, that is your last class. So last two cohorts, our folks graduate. As far as career service, and I already kind of mentioned, we do have hackathons that we host as well, that you can participate in, yeah. All right.
Right, and so that's very much the end of our first 30 minutes of presentation. Gani and I will now look at the chatter on YouTube and Facebook. And so let me actually stop this. I'm going to stop sharing, and you're going to see our faces. There we are. Okay, so while you were going over the content, Gani, I've looked at the YouTube chat, and there's a few interesting things asked there. I will actually start at the top, and then I don't know, you can maybe look at Facebook as well. I didn't find too many questions actually on Facebook.
Okay, I do want to answer this GitHub or Git Setup question.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to start there, but go for it.
Okay, so we do start. So we don't start Git from within our fundamental class, which is our beginners class. In that particular class, you're only learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And as I mentioned, this is more like more like for you to understand, hey, is this coding for you, or are you a good programmer, and so on and so forth. And in Bootstrap class, which is our second class, that's where we start Git. So I personally do recommend everyone understand how Git works. It is another version control, obviously very, very well known and used a lot. So we do use it. It is optional for some students if they don't want to use it. What that means is that student has to make a choice that they don't want to learn it or use it. But as of now, I actually have not come across any student who does not want to use it.
Yeah, and I'll add a little bit of history behind making Git optional at the beginning. And it was very much because some students were just getting stuck on Git. You have to understand that the concept of Git is actually hard to comprehend at first. You have a hard time understanding, why do I need Git? What does it do for me? And we were seeing students just starting with the bootcamp, like 1 week into the bootcamp, and just not being able to go beyond Git. And while we really wanted them to learn to code, they were there to code, to learn Bootstrap and React. They were just stuck trying to understand, why do I need Git? Why does it do for me? And so that's when we actually kind of made it optional. We don't think it's optional. I mean, absolutely, Git is a requirement in the industry. But when you think about what someone should know the very first week getting into the bootcamp, well, they should learn to code first, and then they should learn to use Git. And so we introduced Git in first week into the bootcamp, but we really don't make it a requirement until 5 weeks. So when you're starting React, you have to use Git. You do have to use Git, and we hope that you won't be as confused by it by then. So that's a little bit of history behind Git is optional. It's really not, but we had to respond to some students just being confused by it at first.
There's a question by Edward. What about helping someone get started professionally?
Yeah, you want to answer that one, Gani, because that has really to do with the career coach and all the career services that we offer?
Yep, absolutely. So, Edward, that depends on a lot of things. As a career coach, I do walk students through, their LinkedIn profiles, Indeed, resume, how to apply, what to look for in a job before you apply. At the end of the day, you don't want to apply for 100 jobs and maybe get one interview. Rather have you apply for 10 jobs and get 6 interviews. Okay, so the quality of application is what we kind of talk about. We also go through mock interviews. So what I think it depends on is your background and also how well are you with interviewing. So we kind of go over that in career coaching. So I hope that it kind of answers your question.
Yeah, no, it's pretty. Thank you, Gani. I hope so as well. And Edward, you can ask follow-on question if you want on the chat. I'll take the next question, actually. Can I get hired after completing the web development fundamentals, which is a 4 weeks introduction? The answer, to be direct and honest, is no. I mean, you could be a lucky one and get a job just after 4 weeks of a coding bootcamp, but it's not that really introduction bootcamp is not meant to prepare you and make you job ready. It's really meant as an introduction. And I think Gani mentioned it. It has 2 purposes. The first one is for you to know if that's something that you like. And that's something that you're going to want to continue to pursue. After 4 weeks with us, you'll know if coding is something, quote unquote, for you. And then it's going to really prepare you to move on to either the front end or full stack. There was other questions, I think, later in the chat saying, hey, is that 4 weeks a requirement? The skills that we teach is a requirement, but you don't have to take the 4 weeks with us. You can learn those skills on your own, or maybe you have those skills already. We actually have a test. When you register to front end or full stack, we ask you to take the test to really make sure that you have the skills. And as I said, that's really, you need to have the skills to start front end and full stack. And you can get those skills pretty much in many different ways, including the 4 weeks bootcamp.
Ludo, I think that question is probably for you. Do they have to pay extra if they want to take a class over again?
Oh yeah, so we have a convenience fee, and that's something that we do, and not many actually coding bootcamp do. For $39, you can retake a class. So you can retake React, and some people actually really want to do that because React is again very much something challenging to learn. So you can retake the whole 5 weeks for $39. You can do that again. The price, the convenience fee is a little bit more, it's $79. But still, you can, do it over and over again if you want.
Okay. If we're unable to attend a couple of Saturday sessions, so I do say that Saturday session is really important. It is not mandatory. What does that mean? We will be providing you with a presentation that is covered. We pretty much go through and talk about why certain things are important in your career. So for example, forms. Why do I want to use forms? Why do I want to put labels on top of forms? So et cetera, et cetera. Those things that we definitely talk about in our Saturday classes. So you're getting more of a one-on-one help, and then also there's a workshop that is being done on Saturday. So if you, let's say, if you are stuck on the workshop, instructor is going to help you with that.
Correct. I would say what's really required is working on the assignment, publishing the assignment so that you can be graded. If you're not graded, that means you can't complete the bootcamp. And I would say also, even though really just working on the assignment and publishing the assignment is the requirement, not attending those Saturday sessions really decreases the value that you get overall from the whole experience. It's going to make it that much harder for a student who can't really join those Saturday sessions to actually be successful. So if you don't think you can make those Saturday sessions, or if you don't think you can make at least 90% of those sessions, I will say maybe you don't want to register with us because you're not going to get the value that you would expect. I'm going to actually look at Facebook now because there's a question from Hihab Mustafa regarding the Fair Student Agreement and the $8 payment and then the $89 monthly payment. I'll actually pull that slide again that I was showing earlier. Actually, I was not showing earlier, and I should have shown earlier. Let me show you that. Share screen. There we go. So this is for the Frontend Bootcamp. And so the way it works is you apply to our to Climb Credit, which is a student loan organization. All credit scored are welcome. So we don't discriminate on credit score, I would say. So you can actually, even if your credit score is in a gutter, you could actually apply and get the loan. The rate will be slightly higher, but that's what we're looking at right now. So the maximum, again, as I said, if your credit score is in the gutter, the maximum you'll pay while learning and for 4 months until graduation will be $16. And then you will pay, again, think of it as the worst credit score ever. You will pay then, for example, $89 for 18 months. And so the total cost for you will be $1,799 instead of, if you were to pay, cash on a monthly basis, $1,400. So the total cost will be more than, like, you will add $300 to your total tuition. So that's how it works. You can select to pay faster in 12 months instead of 18 months after graduation for $130. But that's how it is. And we offer that for the full stack bootcamp as well. And then we have also a faster repayment one, which costs a little bit less. You can see here the total cost. So I hope, Hihab, that answered your question. I'll stop sharing now. Okay, Gani, what else do you see?
So there's a question, where do I start if I do not have any coding experience? You will start with a Web Fundamentals class, the first one, which is the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Correct. Yeah, that's an easy answer. Okay, let me look at others. Oh, and by the way, again, thank you so much, Quanula, for having all those chats and conversations with fellow customers. There's a really interesting debate right now in the chat regarding SQL versus MongoDB. Which one is more important? So my personal point of view, and in the tech world, sometimes you'll find very opinionated people having different point of view, and maybe none of them are actually right or wrong. MongoDB is a newer way of storing and retrieving data. SQL has been the de facto database engine for many, many years. I don't want to say anything, I don't want to be wrong, but maybe 40 years or more than that, I don't know. And SQL, you'll find it in all traditional shops, right? Any Fortune 500 company will have SQL somewhere. And it's true that it's a very important skill to get, and you'll be confronted with SQL at some point in your career. That being said, the more modern, scalable the database that startups typically leverage, or any new project, even in a Fortune 500 company, may actually consider MongoDB instead, because of the flexibility that it provides, because of the low cost of maintenance, because of how well it scales. So Nucamp, for example, right now we are using both a SQL and a MongoDB type of database. Our website that needs to scale to, all of the US and maybe at some time internationally is MongoDB. It's actually not quite MongoDB. It's the Google version of MongoDB. And so when you think of MongoDB, it's actually one brand. It's like thinking about Oracle for SQL. The underlying concept is called NoSQL. It's a JSON-based type of database, which is quite what Quanola was saying. So I don't think there's actually a right or wrong answer here at the end of the day. We teach MongoDB, we teach NoSQL because that's the more modern engine. But SQL is also, SQL type of database is also very important. And so, yeah, if you want to learn SQL, go for it. It's never going to be a wasted skill.
Yep. And then obviously it adds to the stack that we're teaching here, MERN stack. M is for MongoDB. Ludo, I think there's a question that you might need to answer. Someone's asking if they want to start with the first class, the beginning first class, they pay $349 plus the full stack. I think it's only the first class, right? And then if they want to enroll in full stack, they pay full stack.
Yeah, that's right. So these are really 3 different bootcamps. So when you enroll in the 4 weeks, you pay for the 4 weeks, and that's either $349 or $399, depending if you are paying during the early bird tuition. And then you're going to register and pay again for the front end or full stack. Yeah, so it's really 2 different registrations. And the good news is one follows the other. So if you start on Monday with HTML, and if you register today, you'll pay $399. And I think you're going to end mid-January. And then the full stack will start like 10 days later. So you'll be enrolling into full stack and then continuing onto your journey with full stack a couple of weeks later. Ehab is asking a follow-up question on Facebook. Is it for full stack too? Yes, for full stack, $8 becomes $10, $16 becomes $20, but the whole thing is available for full stack as well. You can actually go to our website, Ehab, and click the financing option page, and you'll have all those details there. Back to you, Gani.
Okay. If second party wants to pay for my tuition and they cannot pay electronically, they pay via check, how can I make this work?
That's a tough one. I mean, all our systems are really optimized for credit card payments or direct withdrawal. I mean, I know Climb Credit, when you have a Fair Student Agreement loan, you are given the option to actually have a direct withdrawal from your bank account. Check is tough, but we do get some checks sometimes. And I'm reading the question again. Yeah, a third party. So typical, you could have a governmental organization that is willing to pay for your tuition. You could have a nonprofit, and we do get those checks once in a while. It's not the preferred way, but we can make it work. Yes, we can make it work. Okay. Looking forward to it, Elizabeth.
Applied through Climb and got approved, but no link yet to apply for the course. Any help?
Okay, sorry, I didn't see that one. Can you repeat that, Kenny?
Yep, it says I applied through Climb, CLIMB, and got approved, but no link yet to apply.
Oh. Yeah, so we have a 24-hour delay. So it depends when you were approved and accepted the offer. If you just did it, then it's going to be tomorrow morning. If you did it yesterday, you should have gotten your email today. The way it works is we send you a coupon code, again, 24 hours later in the morning, and you register then using that coupon code, which then solves everything.
Okay. There's a question about group projects. So on Saturday classes, class does work in groups of threes or fours. The final project or the course project that we work on, that could be worked on individually or with another person.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, this is very important to work in groups. Some students actually don't like that. Some students prefer to work on their own, and that's okay as well. I mean, we don't encourage it, but definitely working in groups on a project is very powerful. And that's obviously what's going to happen to you in the real world as you find a job. I'll answer that question, Gani, from Abu Omak. If you register for front end and then later decide you also want to learn back end, do you have to pay again for the entire full stack? And the answer, the good news is no. You can just upgrade. And so at any time, if you register for front end, at any time you can pay the difference between front end and full stack and turn your registration into a full stack registration. And we do see many people do that, many students, because they started as front end and then their colleagues or their classmates are full stack and they get to continue on and you don't. And so you want to bump to a full stack registration at that time. I'll get that one as well from Kasim if you want, Gani. In total, how many projects we do for front-end development? So there's a workshop or project per week. So that's something to really keep in mind. And that's a big difference between what you could do on your own online or what sometimes other coding bootcamp offer, which is we don't do the tutorial hell. People call it tutorial hell. Well, every week you work on something completely different. It's a tutorial kind of thing, but it doesn't add up. Like you can't really pile your tutorial on and have something greater. Our curriculum does that. Every week, you improve on what you've done the week before and you add to what you did the week before. So everything piles up. So for front end, it's 17 weeks in duration, 14 weeks in instruction. So that's 14 workshops, meaning 14 projects, individual workshop projects. Now you also work on your own portfolio. And so that you can think of it as doubling maybe if you work on it every week. But ultimately, you're going to show a full-blown application and mobile app. So when you go in front of a hiring manager, you're not going to show 20 things tutorial-like that you've done. Now you're going to show a real-world website or mobile app that's fully functional, very feature-rich, which is what people would want you to build in a real-world scenario.
Okay, there's a question about who do I contact for the check payment that we talked about a few minutes ago. And then also, how many hours are one-to-one assistant per day or week with a career coach? So that is dependent on you. If you need more than one time with a career coach, you can definitely meet with a career coach more than once. We do limit that you meet once a week, just so other students can get help as well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I do know that there's a few students that I've met with them 3 times over the 3-week period. So once a week. It was just that they needed more help. So it totally depends on you.
That's right. And there's a question from Anthony who has been approved by Climb Credit, and Anthony wants to know how to contact us. And Quanola, you actually answered that question, but what I think I'm starting to understand when YouTube is deciding to block a message, and that's when there's a hyperlink in it. So let me paste the hyperlink for Anthony right now and see if my message is being declined or blocked by YouTube. No, it went through. Okay, so that's the link that you can use, Anthony, to schedule a conversation with one of our advisors. So you'll be presented with a calendar and you can pick a slot to have someone call you. You can also ask, I mean, those advisors are actually live online. So if you go to our website, you can use the chat window to ask those questions like now. That won't be a phone call, but that will be a chat, and they're available there. You'll find either Louis or Zandra or sometimes Stephanie as well. All right. Do you offer course for graphic design only? Not yet. UI, UX, we're looking into that. So we may have something to say about that in a few months. Elizabeth, for the check payment, as I said, you can actually chat online. Give us, go to website, use the chat window. You'll talk to Louis, Zandra, or Stephanie, and we'll want to know who that third party is, and work out those details. You can also email info@nucamp.co with all the details. What else do you see, Gani?
So a question about how frequently does instructors respond to students' questions. So I don't think there's a frequent or a frequency. We usually respond within 24 to 36 hours. I usually check my Slack every day. We use Slack as our communication tool. There's private messages you can send, or there's a group chat with the class. So usually if the instructor doesn't answer you, sometimes students answer you faster. But I want to say within 24 hours, you will get a response from students. Hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, remember that our instructors are actually full-time in the industry. And so they're going to also work around their schedule, just like you're working around your schedule during the week. But what I'm seeing and hearing consistently is actually students saying that the response time is pretty super fast. Because if it's not your instructor immediately available to you, it's going to be the broader community on Slack. And we haven't talked about it that much, but our Slack community is really, really vibrant. You have a ton of students that are actually also chiming in and helping you, and other instructors as well, like who could actually answer you. Can we use a Slack channel now? From Anthony? No, you cannot. Unfortunately, it's only for students. We don't have a free Slack channel. So yeah, you'll discover it as you start your bootcamp. Can you guys contact me via LinkedIn or the information on file? We'll look into it. Yeah, of course. Quanula, you're absolutely welcome to add me to your network on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to have a chat. All right. And we're going to be 2 minutes away from actually ending this webcast, but I'm continuing to see questions, and Gani, don't hesitate as well to chime in. But there's one here from Andrew regarding the referral code. So the trick about the referral code is it's a benefit to the person who has given it to you. It's not a benefit for you, meaning you don't get a discount by using a referral code. What happens is the person who gave you the referral code gets $50 back. So think about that. By the way, everyone has a referral code. So if you give your referral code to someone else, you'll get the $50 back. And there's some rules about that. It has to be associated with a front-end or full-stack registration. The code that gives you the discount as a student is a coupon code. The referral code, I mean, it's in the name, I will say. You offer a referral, or you give a referral to another person, you are the person who benefits from it. So yeah, it's not that it's not working, it's just that it's not working for you. Oh, please add the URL to see the student portfolio. Well, you can check that out on Facebook, on YouTube, sorry. But let me see if I can find it again. Probably not. So if you do a search, Nucamp portfolio, YouTube, you'll probably be able to find it. All right. Anything else? I think actually we're out of time at this time. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time here. We're going to end this open house. Really, really appreciate everyone joining today. We are very close to end this nightmarish year of 2020. Just 2 days, and I really, really enjoy seeing you online and hoping and wishing you all the best in 2021. I hope to see most of you join as students as well. If you have additional questions, you can always email us at info@nucamp.co, or as I said, chat online on our website. We have real people answering those questions. And so again, thank you so much. Thank you, Gani, for joining me today. And see you all in 2021, I hope. Bye-bye.